who, like say of a first or second grader, you spoke about this earlier, say that their children are being penalized in the first or second grade. They know that they get the answer right in the math problem, but they're not using the right process. You spoke a little bit to this. Can you explain, is that true? They're being penalized, and if so?
It would be educationally improper to penalize a student. And I don't know what penalize, I mean, in the vein, but let me just say this. We know from research that the foundation that a child gets in kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, and fourth grade in mathematics really determines and is very predictable about how well they do in higher mathematics courses. So one of the reasons why teachers ask and why we encourage teachers to ask, how did you get to this answer, is because since it is a building block process, that the teacher needs to be able to detect where the student is not going through the mathematical processes that would be necessary to get to higher level mathematics as you go from kindergarten through first grade. So it is important for a child to be able to explain how did you get to 2, or how did you get to 23? And the teacher, that's a tool for the teacher to figure out, did I teach the process so the student can really understand it? So it's not necessarily a penalty. It's a way of helping the teacher to do the best thing for the kid so that they will have a sense of numbers. And if, you know, sometimes if you just have 3 answers, I was very lucky in guessing on multiple choice tests. And so I would be one of those kids who could have a sense of what the right answer is, but I really needed to know, how did I get to that? And teachers asking those questions help get to the answer to determine whether the student is not thinking mathematically to get to the right answer.
All right, thank you, Ms. Flock. Do you have anything to add?
If whatever the teacher thinks is best for the student is what the teacher should know best. However, with math, we've always said 2 + 2 is 4. If the student is able to say that's 4, we don't understand why they have to go into the deeper meaning of how they got there. Math has never changed. It's always been the same answers. I do know when you get to the higher level math, you kind of do need to explain it more. But for the lower grades, we've seen those little templates we've seen some teachers do the squares is 10 block, and then you do the lines as 1. We see some teachers do that. We see some teachers do different with objects in the classroom. So whatever the teacher thinks is best, but if the student is able to do math, I think if they get the answer, sometimes it's a process.
Well, this might lead into the next question, because